Hello BookTube. This is Time and Last Book Reviews. My name is Albert, and today I'll be doing the Hot or Not A through Z book tag. I was tagged by Farrah over at her channel Bookstagic. I'll be sure to include her latest video in the description box down below. And as promised, every Wednesday, they're back. The Cosmic Lovers. I just realized they don't have names yet. You guys got a good name for these two, put them in the comments down below. Let's get right into it, shall we? The letter A, audiobooks. Hot, absolutely. I love audiobooks. I've said before, when you get an audiobook that's a memoir biography narrated by that person, it adds a whole new dimension. Also, too, I must say, I completely understand why people don't like them, because I got to admit, I've heard a lot of audio readings that are pretty flat. But if you got someone who gives a performance, then, well, it's a whole new experience. Okay. The letter B, the Bildungsroman, dealing with a person's formative years or spiritual education. This is definitely hot for me, because when it comes to reading, I'm completely character driven. And if I love the characters, I want to know their about, as the tag says, their formative years and how they came to be the person they are. C, children's books. I'm gonna have to say not on this one. I'm sure I have a fond reverence for the books I grew up with, but today, no, I just can't read them. I'm an adult. D for digital. Absolutely. I found some books that are hard to find. If you could find them online, a physical copy, they're pretty expensive. You get the ebook, they're considerably cheaper. Some books I've gotten over the years, they're on sale on Kindle for like $2, $3. So that's a definitely hot one for me. So E, experimental. I gotta be honest, I don't think I've read any books that would qualify as experimental. But as the name suggests, experimental, trying new things. So for that alone, I'll say hot. I want people to try new things. The F for fantasy. It's not my favorite genre, but I am going to say hot for this one because I know I'm still have someone interest in it, and I know there's bound to be like one fantasy book out there I haven't read that I really do love. Recently, I bought Babel. I heard a lot of people talking about this one. I know R.F. Kuang, I know she wrote the Poppy Wars trilogy. So I figured before I give that a try, I'll read this one. If I like this, I'll give the whole trilogy a try. And technically, I guess you call this low fantasy. Wouldn't like the Before the Coffee Gets Cold books count as fantasy? I think so. A little supernatural element. I think it's probably a subgenre of fantasy, isn't it? So yeah, I had to say hot for sure. G, graphic novel. I'll say hot for this one. Once again, I'm not very knowledgeable, but once upon a time I read The Watchmen, and that completely changed what I thought comic books could be. Added a whole new dimension to them that I never even knew existed. So I'll say hot for sure. H for horror. I'll say hot as well. I'm not into the blood and gore. I'm more of like suspense and tension. So once again, horror is pretty broad, so I'll definitely say hot for that one. I for inspirational. Oh, absolutely, this is a hot one. I don't care who you are. We all need some inspirational words every now and then. We always hear a story that gets us out of a hard time, or even during a good time, we hear a story that makes us feel good. There's one guy I came across recently. His name's Adam Grant. You probably seen him on TED Talks, whatnot. He has a podcast called Rethinking. That's how I first found out about him. And he's written a number of books too. So I definitely would love to read his books. So yeah, one thing I like about him too, he's not like one of those creepy guys in a suit, so with all the fancy jewelry telling you how good you are. This guy's like an actual psychologist, and he brings on other people as well. Other people. I know one, Brené Brown, was his recent guest on his podcast, and she broke the internet with one of her TED Talks. So yeah, it's absolutely, and a lot of his guests, they've written books as well too. So yeah, absolutely, we could all use a few words of inspiration every now and then. J for journalism. This is hot. I love nonfiction, and journalism is really just nonfiction. It's boots on the ground, a first-hand account of any situation around the world. So I have to say hot for sure. Okay, Kish has a popular or sentimental appeal. This one, I guess I have to say not, because when I think about what's popular, I could be wrong with this. When I hear the word popular, I think trendy, and trendies, trends come and go. It's just what's popular at the time. So Yeah, for now I'll have to say not. You never know. And then L for library. Oh, this is absolutely hot. Like especially if you live near like in your county, you live near like the headquarters. My God, the selection is massive there. It's all right there at your fingertips for you to use. So yeah, absolutely, I have to say hot for that one. M for mystery. Hot. This is by far my favorite genre. I love a good mystery, whether it's a classic like Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot or a modern day Joe Pickett by C.J. Box. I love a good mystery. Nonfiction. N for nonfiction. Absolutely, it ties in with journalism and the biographies and memoirs I love. I love history and nonfiction. All that falls under nonfiction, of course. Omnibus. I'm gonna say hot on that one too. Especially, especially you get like a series of books or a collection of works. They put it all together for a bundle. You save a few bucks. What's not to love? So hot for that one. P for poetry. Once again, not really knowledgeable on this genre. I don't know a lot of poems, but I think the most poetry I've heard in my life was because of our friend Pax Paddock. I used to love to listen to her readings and discuss what I thought things meant. So yeah, I'll say hot for now. Even though I'm not I'm not knowledgeable at all on the subject, but I will say hot. A good poem always gets to me. And I do love music too, so I guess technically song lyrics are a bit of poetry in their own way. So, I'm in New Jersey. We listen to Bruce Springsteen over here. Q for quest. A protagonist goes on a quest, physical or spiritual. Let's see. Overall, as right now, I have to say not, just because I really don't know of any. Okay. R for romance. No. Who doesn't love a good romance? No. You all have a heart. Okay. S for science fiction. Hmm. Yeah. Overall, I have to say not for this one. Just in general, everyone has their thing that they just don't get or just doesn't click with them. For me, it's space and science fiction, so I have to say not for that one. Translation for letter T. I'm going to say hot as well because I've heard a lot of people say no to this, and I really don't understand why. Like our books here in the U.S. or the Western world, they're shipped all over the world and translated. You got to come back the other way. For especially from the other side of the world, you get like a whole new perspective on life. To listen to a lot of read a lot of American books or listen to a lot of Western books, it does get kind of repetitive. You hear people from the other side of the world, it really broadens your horizons. U for Ubermensch. Superman or extraordinary human. Can't do anything. I'm going to say not. If he can do anything, that's kind of, where's the conflict? That's why I have to say not. And V for Victorian. 1837 to 1901. I have to say not just because I don't think I've ever read a book from this time period. So for now, I'll say not. W for Western. This I will say hot. One of my favorite book series right now is a mystery series, the Joe Pickett series by C.J. Box. He's a game warden in Wyoming, but it essentially is a modern day Western. So yeah, I have to say hot for that one. Okay, there we go. X for X-rated. I gotta tell you, it's hard to say because I never finished one. In all seriousness, I have to say not for this one. It's like when the subject X-rated, to me, I just think of it as just filler. When the writing's bad, you just throw in the gratuitous stuff as a little cover. So it just doesn't get to me. Okay, Y for young adult. This I'm going to say hot because maybe for a little different reason than people might say. I've always I'm almost middle aged now. I always want to be on top of what's current and see what the younger kids are into. You know, you to break it to you folks. We're gonna get old at some point, and the world will not belong to us anymore. It's gonna belong to the kids. So I'm curious to see what they're interested in nowadays. And finally, Z for zeitgeist, a spirit or mood of the times. I'll definitely say hot for this one. I think this ties in with nonfiction and especially journalism too. You want to get let's see, you're like a memoir, a period piece, or any fiction even. You want to get a feel for the times. What was the mood back then? Let's see. Yeah, I think especially read a book about the 1960s. That tumultuous time. You definitely would love a first-hand account of what the mood was back then. That's gonna wrap it up, folks. I hope you enjoyed my hot or not tag. I will see you on Sunday with my next book review. This is usually where the taggee tags new people. Unfortunately, everyone else I was going to tag already posted their own videos. So I really have no one to tag right now. And then I was thinking about our dear late friend Pex Pack. She used to do these tag videos, and she never tagged anyone at the end. So she always just threw it out there. If you like to do this tag, don't wait for anybody. You go right ahead and have some fun. If it was good enough for Pax, it's good enough for me. Yay. Hope you have a good night, everybody, and I will see you on Sunday.